What is going on, amazing people of the interwebs? Before we get into today's show, I'd just like to tell you I'm crazy about intermittent fasting, not only for weight loss, but for mental benefits. That's why I've created an ebook and I want to share that with you. So you can check that out in the link in my description. So without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. Welcome guys to the show. How you feeling today, Karl?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Pretty good. Can't wait to. There's a lot of things to unpack, a lot of controversial topics that I've noticed. So can't wait to deep dive into that. Firstly, I'd just like to ask you because you're a massive proponent of dyslexia, and what does that mean for you, dyslexia? I know that's an open question, but...
Dyslexia means that you've got a huge gift because research has shown that we use the right side of the brain. Sally Sayworth in the States put dyslexic people down this tunnel, fMRI tunnel, and a non-dyslexic person used the left side of the brain. And they then use traditional products, reading, writing, and spelling, hammering more reading, writing, spelling into a dyslexic person. And after a year, the brain is very plastic. The dyslexic person then starts using the left side of the brain, and it's removing the gift. So it makes a dyslexic more non-dyslexic. So this left brain mind is the sequential side. The right side is more the innovative side. So Cass-based Business School in the UK has shown that a dyslexic person is 4 times more likely to be innovator. So there's literally thousands of very famous dyslexic people: Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, John F. Kennedy, Muhammad Ali, many, many more. And none of them were diagnosed. So what the dyslexia associations are doing now, they're making dyslexic people sequential, like them. Now, being sequential is a gift on its own right because you're good in the educational system. So my push is to keep dyslexic people right brain minded because they can see things other people cannot see. And then with the gifts of the left brain minded sequential, which is 90% of society, really innovate and bring things forth. So that's in a very brief summary how I see dyslexia. And it's a big push because most parents think their kid is stupid, and it's actually the opposite.
Yeah, I want to deep dive into that idea of the right-sided brain, and it's more. So you're suggesting that we should be utilizing this intuition, this emotional part of the brain. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes. So dyslexic people, Sally Sayworth in Yale University has shown dyslexic people. They always talk about left brain, right brain minded. Her study has shown dyslexic people and people in autism range, because dyslexia is very low in the autism range. They're the ones that use the right side of the brain.
Yeah.
And the right side is the creative, innovative side. And what's currently 10% of the world population has got dyslexia. And what's happening is dyslexia associations are making dyslexic. So I grew up in South Africa in the 60s, 70s, and around the world, no one would have been diagnosed. And there's all these famous people that are dyslexic people. Now you get diagnosed, which is an advantage, but the disadvantage is they're using traditional methods to make dyslexic people sequential, and it's taking away the gift of dyslexia. Dyslexic people think differently. So it's all about coping. So I've got an event on the 30th of October, a one-day Zoom free event. So if people go to lightsurfers.me, LIGHTS, light, SURFERS.me, and click on International Celebration Dyslexia, I promote a method where you build things with clay. This guy, Ron Davis, discovered that there's 250 trigger words in the English language that's got no shape. So a horse has got, a shape, but the word up or left or right hasn't got a shape. So my daughter then built from clay the word between, and then put, say, an arrow in the middle. So it's in between. Take a photo of that. So there's methods, fun methods to help a dyslexic person cope. But it's that's in summary. Normally I discuss this for half an hour, but in summary, that's very brief summary. That's what it's about.
Not a problem. And I guess moving into the next topic, you're fond of minerals as well.
Yeah. So
yeah.
What I want to say is, I know you're very fond of health and wellness and longevity. I see that on your LinkedIn or whatever. So is it possible, and that's obviously going to be today's discussion, I take it. I've got 12 points of sort of, I call them, of love. And is it possible I can flick through the other 10 very quickly?
I mean,
and then come back to minerals.
Yeah, I was kind of like the shape of the podcast. I was kind of thinking we could just give a summarization of each point. I'm sure we've got enough time to do so. So, I mean, I'm happy to listen to what you've got to say and on those points.
Okay. Let me then do that. Okay, why minerals, natural, everything else? So Louis Pasteur, we all know he's the germ theory guy. That's why we've got drugs and pasteurization. And he was late 19th century. He was very wealthy, very talkative. He had a compatriot called, also a Frenchman, called Antoine Duchamp. Don't know how to pronounce it. He was quiet, not wealthy. And his theory was everything is in the terrain. So if your body is non-toxic, no germs can take hold. And on Pasteur's deathbed, because Pasteur he got the germ theory going, the drugs. But on Pasteur's deathbed, his son found the notes to say that Duchamp got it right. It's all in the terrain. So if your terrain, therefore, or your body is non-toxic and correct, then there cannot be any disease, or there cannot be various different things like COVID or flus and stuff like that. So how does it work? Your blood runs at 7.365 pH. If it goes up and down by 0.5 pH, you die. So there's three systems that regulate the blood to that 7.365 pH, because it's slightly alkaline. And that is the circulatory system, the blood, the lungs, and the kidneys. So all meat, dairy, and eggs are slightly alkaline before they enter the body, but they're acidic forming in the body. It's called a Pral score, Pral. All fruit and veg, whether they acidic like a lemon, 3 to 4 pH, or broccoli, say 8 pH, they all alkaline forming in the body. So I've got a study called the Let's Live Longer study that I'm starting the 5th of June this year. And where I'm taking informal study, where I'm taking 3 easy diseases, osteoporosis, multiple sclerosis, and cystic fibrosis, and see how we can reverse them, to what extent. So starting with osteoporosis. So that's obviously everything to do with the bone. So because of the genes of a person, different people have different genes. All the cause of, and this is why I wrote the book, The Healthspring Code, of disease is meat, dairy, and eggs, and pesticides. So the longevity nations that I studied is the Hunza Kutch in northern Pakistan. Fortunately, 4 people wrote books about them because they lived disease-free until the 1960s.
Yeah.
And then they built a highway to them, and now they've got all kinds of diseases. But one US doctor lived with them for 7 years to figure out how do they do it. Now what did they didn't eat? Meat, dairy, and egg. They ate small amount of meat in the winter months because they didn't have refrigeration. The China study, and they're all organic. The China study in the mid-70s, the Premier of China got cancer, and with Oxford University in UK, Cornell University in the States, they surveyed the then 880 million Chinese population. And what was the outcome of cancer? Meat, dairy, and eggs. So an osteoporosis person, because of their genes, because it's now putting a meat, dairy, and egg acidic diet into the body, it has to find calcium. It has to find an alkaline mineral. So there's 4 main alkaline minerals: calcium, sodium, potassium, and magnesium. So because of the genes, it goes for the calcium in the bones. And that's why you get osteoporosis. With multiple sclerosis, as soon as I knew that multiple sclerosis is the nerves, so around the nerves, they've got the myelin sheath. It's like an electric wire, and you've got this rubber around it. And with multiple sclerosis people, that myelin sheath erodes, and the nerves, what they call crisscross chatter. And I immediately knew that myelin sheath has to be alkaline minerals, and it was. It was something like 93% alkaline.
Yeah.
So all that's the city.
Sorry, I was just going to mention. It's interesting that you talk about the meat-free diet because it's interesting because I just recently had a carnivore specialist on the show, and she actually purely just eats meat, and I just found it interesting because so your theory is that like less meat. There's less acid. There's less acid in the body. That's what I'm understanding. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So meat. So first of all, what I would say to a paleo diet people is that the 2 biggest natural studies, and they poo-poo these studies, and they will. I come from South Africa. It's most probably the biggest meat, dairy, and egg consumer in the world. We even, as you know, take biltong to the rugby games. So my best friend, one of my 2 best friends in Africa, is a butcher. So I know all about meat, dairy, and eggs. I grew up with it. I'll say to a paleo person, the 2 biggest natural studies is the longevity nations, the Hunza Kutch, and I study the other 7 longevity nations. They don't eat meat, dairy, and eggs. So bring me a natural study like that, where people live. The Hunza Kutch lived purportedly up to 120 and longer. Bring me another natural studies with a paleo diet that can beat that. And then the second biggest study, the China study. There's no natural study. They surveyed 96% population. So you can come with any scientific, small, random thing, whatever. It just doesn't make any sense. But
yeah.
The proof is the pudding. I used to have asthma. I used to walk around with an asthma pump. And within 9 months on the diet, my asthma completely disappeared. I don't, walk around with a Ventolin pump anymore. There's a guy in Australia, where I know you from, a professor, that cured his multiple sclerosis with my diet, a vegan diet. It's not my diet, but so it's vegan plus fish, plus 70% organic. But just going to the multiple sclerosis. So with the multiple sclerosis, the acidity, because the blood has to now get alkaline mineral, it goes for the myelin sheath. The last one, cystic fibrosis, is the easiest one. I believe, my theory, because cystic fibrosis is all about the lungs.
Okay.
And my asthma was all the lungs, and it disappeared within 9 months. I don't get colds. I don't get flus. So now I've tried to convince universities for 10 years to take on a proper study. Twice I got close to, one at Dublin University and one in London University, but then they go quiet. And I know why they go quiet, because the research universities are funded by the drugs companies. So now I'm starting an informal study. It's on lightsurfer.me. If you click on Let's Live Longer, for those 3 diseases I mentioned, osteoporosis, multiple sclerosis, and cystic fibrosis. And I want to now show the world how we can do it, so that now the scientific community, I say in my study, I say in the document that people can download, that, and it's free, all of this is free, that the scientific community will not accept it, but at least it's a pilot to something bigger, because I want to show the paleo people that, I want to show the scientific community, right. Now, one really critical thing I want to mention is, first of all, I went vegan. This is about 10 years ago. And then I tested my mineral levels through saliva, blood, and urine tests, and they fell below recommended standards. And the way I got it up is through a vegan diet, vegan plus fish, and 70% organic. And my diet, that's at the bottom of that Let's Live Longer now, I've got 7-day recipes, but I've got my own recipe for a super economy recipe. And you can eat cheaper than when you eat on a meat, dairy, and eggs, because you go for a lot of tinned seafood. But in any case, the diet is all there. So the problem with vegans is, so meat, dairy, and eggs is wrong, and we know it's wrong because the longevity nations, the elderly, they the real elderly, and they're in charge of everyone. Our elderly are in old age homes normally. The vegans get it wrong because there's not enough minerals and vitamins in the food naturally. So they go for supplementation, and half of supplementations are by drug companies, and the other half is by taking certain elementized mineral vitamins, so making vitamin A. Nature doesn't elementize. So I've got a second study on the go that's just starting, called Minerals and Plant Study, and want to increase the mineral content in the soil and use a water system called structured water that mimics nature, water in nature, and increase, therefore, the absorption by plants of minerals. And that's the future. Okay. But for the next 20 years, my view, I'm certainly going to promote a vegan diet, because it's an interim step to go from meat and eggs to it's too big a step to go directly onto a vegan diet.
Okay. And speaking of diets, I mean, where does coffee sit on the spectrum? Because I'm a huge coffee drinker, and I know that coffee is classed as acidic. I don't want to give up my coffee. You know, that's my one vice. You know, so
yeah, I've never researched coffee whether it's acidic or not. First of all, seafood is acidic for me, like meat and eggs.
Okay.
But they say as long as your diet's 80% alkaline forming, so fruit, veg, and fish, a lot of sea salt or Himalayan salt. Table salt is terrible. I've got a chapter on 7 on table salt, why it's so bad, on my book, The Health Screen Code. Now, on coffee, tea is better because the caffeine in coffee, all of it gets absorbed in the water and then you drink it. Where with tea, first of all, the caffeine content is lower, but a lot of the caffeine content stays in the tea bag. So you get far less caffeine. So I drink organic tea. There's only 2 brands in the UK that's organic. That's organic, plus the tea bags are fully biodegradable, and that's Puka and Clipper. So I've also always got my Puka or Clipper organic tea. But on the scale of things, I would say whether you drink tea or coffee is very low down on the scale. The most important thing is to cut out meat, dairy, and eggs, and to go vegan plus fish. That's the biggest thing. And the next thing is go at least 70% organic. And a lot of shops, I've got a diet. It's all at the bottom of my website, Let's Live Longer. Well, lightsurfers of me, and you click on Let's Live Longer. And you'll change your life, but don't think you'll change it within a week. Most people want to change things in a week. You've got to give it at least 9 months to a year.
Yeah, absolutely. And okay, so that's interesting. The Segan diet. I've got to do a bit more research and check that out. So moving on to the next topic in your repertoire there, creator versus God. I'm interested to. This sounds more of a religious, spiritual topic. So I'm happy to hear your thoughts on this one, the creator versus God.
Okay, so the first topic we discussed, why dyslexia is a gift, was from my book, The Dyslexia Code. That took me 6 months to research, and I'm dyslexic. My daughter was diagnosed with dyslexia. The second topic, why minerals, naturally, everything in health, that we just discussed, is my second book, The Houseman Code. And that naturally actually came out of my dyslexia book, because they take dyslexic people off gluten products and lactose and milk, and they hugely improve. That took me another 6 months. The next 4 topics we're going to discuss is from my Universe Code book. That took me 7 years of research. Wow. And after the 7 years, I had 1 million words of events, books, just research notes, and then where I got the information from. And then it took me 6 months of not working 17 hours a day, of just removing 2/3 out. So I was left with 1/3 of a million words. And then I chucked it into 21 chapters, and I removed half of it because half duplicated. And what I was left with was 70-80% information from the spirit world. So the spirit world information made sense. In my 21 chapters, I see like 21 pieces of a puzzle. So the next 4 topics are massive. Obviously, I can't even get into it because we haven't got the time, but I'll just give a very brief summary.
I know I'm not doing it justice by skimming through the topic, so just to, it's
I think it's good, because I've got podcasts of all these topics on my website that I go for half an hour to an hour each topic. So any of your listeners that want to delve into a particular topic can get far more information. So it's good to just give a brief overview. Okay, so the spirit world. So there's different entities, spirit entities, that speaking to people currently on Earth in the last 20, 30 years. Now, on Creator, the spirit entity, Angel Margaret, that communicates with a guy called Jerry Gavin in the States, says that a good analogy of the Creator is this: we are the computers, people are computers, the angels are the servers, and the Creator is the mainframe computer. So us plus the angels together are the Creator. So you get the Big Bang, and you get fluffy matters out of the Big Bang, which is spiritual energy. And that spiritual energy, which is creation, the Creator, then over time moves into the mineral kingdom, earth, etc., stars, and then into animal kingdom, plant kingdom, and then animal kingdom, and then humans. So that's the definition of Creator. So the biggest event I'm ever going to have is next year on the 9th of April in New York. It's called the One Souls event. It's a morning event, and it's all about world peace. And I've studied in my book the 5 main religions, because they make up 75% of humanity. It's not that the other 25 is not important, but I just studied that. And there can only be one Creator. If you believe in evolution, as certainly as I do, there can only be one Creator for all religions, and certainly the 5 main religions. Now, God, what is God? And this is from my research. in the God is the God of the Old Testament, and what the Christians also believe, the Old Testament God. Because they've asked theologians, Christian theologians, is the God of the Old Testament the same as Allah, or the creator of the Quran? And they said no. And they're right, because the God of the Old Testament is not the same as the creator or Allah in Quran. So Jimmy Carter, the peanut president, America, and Reagan, they both saw UFOs. In fact, Reagan followed the UFOs in his, I suppose it was the Air Force One, for 2 minutes, and then the UFO just went ting. The Pentagon have now twice confirmed that the US Navy pilots have seen UFOs. So UFOs is 100% there. The problem is that the governments have, this is my view, completely falsified and made UFOs as if it's sort of something that you're strange if you believe in UFOs. UFOs is 30 times in the Old and New Testament. Spinning wheels, chariots of fire, spinning pillars. There's an African guy who wrote a book on the natives in South Africa or Africa that all talk about these men coming down. The Chinese talked about it, the men in the dragons, fire. So now the gods are the Pleiadians or the Pleiadians, I never know how to pronounce it. They are in charge of Earth and us. They stopped coming to Earth about 8,000 years ago. The reason why they stopped coming is because we need to earn our own way, because they are forefathers, they are seed parents. So they million years further advanced evolutionary. So they're far more spiritual, far more physically advanced. They're slightly bigger than us. They're not green men. This green men stuff is complete rubbish. And we never, on our Earth, we never evolved from an ape to a human. The Pleiadians came down because they evolved, and we are their seed parents. And our DNA, scientists are now discovering, our DNA is not linked to the plant kingdom or animal kingdom from Earth. And the reason is we come from the Pleiadians. Now the gods, the person in charge of the Pleiadians, they live much longer than we do, 16,000 years before Christ, was called Yahweh. So that's why you've got Yahweh in the Old Testament. 9,000 years ago, it was Jehovah. That's where you get the name Jehovah. And currently it's El. And that's why you've got that El in the Bible as well. So they are actually beings like us, but they are they are seed parents, far more advanced than us, and they the gods. So when Moses spoke, the 10 tablets, he was actually speaking to Pleiadian, because they call them gods as well. They came down, not, but the main god is the guy in charge of Pleiadians and Earth. So, unless that information gets out into the world, we cannot have world peace, because we need to understand that. Sorry, I'll finish now. We need. Yeah. You see, if you take the 5 major religions, if you take Hinduism, they see the creator in everything. The river Ganga, calf, cow, everything. If you take Buddha used to meditate to the creator. I understand he also meditated to God, to Pleiadians as well. Then the Old and New Testament, Old Testament have they also part of creation. They're born like us, like the Pleiadians are born, but they've also got a God. They're actually quite special. They've got both, creation and God. Same with Christians. They've got God, but they're also part of creation. And then the Quran is Allah is creator.
Okay. So I kind of want to go off a little bit of a tangent here and kind of pick out what you said there. So you're speaking about aliens, and I'm fascinated about the idea. So let's make the assumption that aliens do exist. Why do you think that they are some governing force, or do you think they are watching over us and actually, ensuring that we don't blow each other up? Or, I mean, I'm just curious about the fact that aliens exist. I mean, do you mind expanding on that idea? What do you think they're there? Are they to help us, or yeah?
Yes. So the Pleiadians are seed parents. They're 100% there to help us. So you do get, they had seed parents called the Arcunians as well. And most of the information is misinformation that's given out by the US government and maybe other governments to completely confuse things. There's only one true contactee with the Pleiadians, and that's a guy called Billy Meyer, Billy, and his surname Meier. He's in Switzerland. And he's got all the videos to show how you make contact with the Pleiadians. And he's the only true contactee that there's been. Now, they're not alien to me as an alien word, because they're not aliens, they are seed parents, they're slightly bigger than us. Now, they stopped coming to Earth because one of the secrets of the universe is that you need to earn your own way. And as soon as they came down, the locals wanted to take all their, they're so scientifically advanced. If you think a UFO, think where we will be in 1 million years from now. A UFO is just a fancy helicopter. It's nothing, But the most credible information about that is figu.org, FIGU.org, which is Billy Meyer's outfit. Now, a lot of people will poo-poo it, but that's the truth. They stop purposely coming to Earth 8,000 years ago. They make appearances, like with Reagan. A lot of people have seen it. A lot of famous people have seen UFOs. But they never make contact other than Billy Meyer. They show, at Glastonbury in the UK, they've got the crop circles, or there's a lot of other places in the world as well. That's the Pleiadians. It's energy symbols, is to show that they're around. It's for hope purposes. And, we are not, the Pentagon have twice now confirmed that there are UFOs. This is not something that's a if or a but. And this is the information. We have seed parents, and the people in charge of the Pleiadian, the main person in charge, is the God of the Old Testament, as I mentioned in those things.
Hang on, sorry. What do you mean by that? Sorry.
So the Pleiadian, as I mentioned before, 16,000 years before Christ, they live much longer than us, but they're born just like us. The guy in charge of the Pleiadians, the main guy in charge, so say like the Biden, the Biden of the Pleiadians, but they are in charge of the Earth as well, although they leave us alone. He or she was called Yahweh. 9,000 years ago, it was Jehovah, and currently it's El. And those are the gods of the Old Testament. So if you go to the Old Testament, those are the gods of the Old Testament. They mentioned in the Old Testament. But they're not the creator. They are people that's created like us as well. They're born just like us. They are seed parents. So the creator is something different. The creator is, as Angel Margaret explained, is we the computers, the angels are the servers, and creation is all of us together.
And what's the seed parent? Can you define seed parent? Sorry to cut you off there. What's
seed parent? Is just all it means is that they are forefathers. So they're our parents. We came from them. We never evolved from an ape. That's why they'll never find a link between an ape and a human, because we didn't come from the. We later on are going to discuss dolphins and whales. Whales and dolphins came from the Pleiadians as well. That's why they're so different. People know they're different, and they've got a special purpose as well, which we can't go into now. But the whales and dolphins' DNA is also not from Earth. Scientists are going to find it out. That's the missing link, that our DNA is not from Earth. We cannot our DNA, if you compare it to the animal kingdom and the mineral kingdom and the plant kingdom, is not the same. And we came from Epidaeans, from our seed parents, from our forefathers, if you want to call it that.
And is there any, can you expand on that idea? Like, how did we come from the Epidaeans? Is it like they created us, or sorry?
No, they came here. They came to Earth. In my book, The Universe Code, I give the history of when they came to Earth. It's thousands of years ago, like 300 or 600,000 years ago. They came with UFOs, and they colonized, and then they left. There was different periods, and certain people that were stayed behind, like many years ago, they actually went backwards, more towards the ape. They sort of, but it's all in my book, The Universe Code, which is $3.50 on Amazon. Can I jump to the next topic?
Yeah, sure. Just the last point. With the aliens, I mean, I'm just fascinated on that. Because most people report greys. Most people report the big eyes and the pale body. Does that fit into any?
It doesn't. It doesn't fit in anywhere from any of my research. And I've been taught at the College of Psychic Studies in London to communicate with the spirit world. Most people, through automatic writing, most people ask to do automatic writing with the Ascended Masters or the angels. I ask to speak to the Creator because I think big. And the Creator says that there's none of these, it's all false stories. It's all to make aliens like a movie. It's not. The fact is, it's our forefathers. They haven't got these green. They're not these green men. They're slightly bigger than us. And the best research on that is figo.org, which will, if listeners are going to look at it, you've got to buckle in your seat, But the next topic, you're going to have to buckle in even more.
All right. I got my seatbelt ready.
Yeah. But these informations will start coming out more because under the right paw of the Sphinx in Cairo, Egypt, is the hall, they call it the Hall of Records, will be found in our lifetime. And that will start. So a lot of things are going to start. We're in the time of Aquarius. The real time of Aquarius started on it wasn't the 21st of December 2012. It was 21st December last year. We're now speeding up. This 2021 is a highly spiritual year, and things are going to speed up. And things are going to start coming out. Thank God for that.
Human energy fields.
But you've
I've skipped. I've jumped the gun a little bit.
You've missed out the biggest, most controversial topic.
All right. I want to hear the controversial. Okay. Yep. I'm in your hands. Yep.
No. If you feel your listeners are not ready for it, let's jump. Because it is a big topic. I agree. It's a massive topic. But the topic that we're not mentioning, topic 4, is the most important topic of all these 12 topics, because that's where true world peace lies, in my view. And I can explain it.
All right. You've sold me. I want to hear it.
Okay. The topic for your listeners is Jesus in India. Now, I'm a Christian. I was from Pretoria, South Africa, the heart of apartheid, in the Protestant church. I know what my friends think about even what I'm saying now. So, but the truth will set us free. One of the most important things I discovered in my 7-year research, the truth will set us free. We have to have the truth. That's the only way we're going to have world peace. And if the 5 main religions can relax, then we can have world peace. And it's the mistakes in the scriptures that have caused so many people to die, so many wars. Jesus in India. So 722 years ago, 10 of the 12 tribes who were expelled out of Israel. They call it the lost tribes. So, you know, Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, you had Joseph was one of the 12, and 12 sons of Jacob. And 10 of those 12 were expelled out of Israel, and they went east. No one knows where they went, but they say they went to Afghanistan, Pakistan. Now, just east of Pakistan is Kashmir. And Kashmir, which is on the northern tip of India, I believe is the place where we can get world peace. And the reason is because the 5 main religions have all been in Kashmir. Okay, so in the Old Testament, it says there's one long verse on Jesus between the age of 13 and 29. And it says he gained wisdom. What actually happened is he went east because he must have known where to go on the Silk Route, because Jews, the 10 of the 12 tribes already went east. So there was contact already there. And he went east, and he was first taught by the Hindu scholars in Jagannath in India. And then he was taught by the Buddhist scholars in a place called Lhasa, Lsasha. It's in the modern day Tibet in China.
Okay.
So it's just north of India. And so we've got the scroll called the Life of Saint Isa. They called him Isa. Now there's 5 people that's seen it. One was in Hemis Monastery. So just east of Kashmir, you've got Ladakh, which is part of India, and Hemis Monastery is there. And it was a Novatich, which was a Russian explorer, 2 UK ladies, it's all separately, Swami Sansan, and then also a guy that was nominated 3 times for the Nobel Peace Prize. They saw this. So I'm calling on just through the butterfly effect, I'm trying to get a hold of the Dalai Lama to release the life of St. Isa, because it explains how Jesus was taught by Buddhist monks as well. And until that's carbonated and until that's released to the world, we cannot have real peace. Because once Christians understand that Jesus was taught by Hindu and Buddhist monks, then we can have world peace, because it brings those 3 religions together. And because Jesus was a Christian, was a Jew, brings 4 together. And because Muslims believe in Jesus and the Old Testament prophets, it brings 5 religions together. Now, there's these books, and I read them already 7, 8 years ago. A guy posted on YouTube a fantastic thing about this. It's that book about the life of St. Isa. It explained, but he's put it in like video format. It's called Jesus in India, Tibet. I think if you just put in Jesus in India, you'll get it. It's fantastic. And there's already 750,000 people that's clicked on it, viewed it since December last year. Okay, now this is where you've got to buckle up. This is where it gets pretty heavy. So this Billy Meyer chappie that we talked about, that he's the only true contactee of the Pleiadians.
That's right, the Swedish guy. Swiss, sorry. Yeah.
That's it. Figo.org, F-I-G.
Figo.org, okay. I'm with you.
Now, he was told by the Pleiadians in 1963 to go to a grave in Jerusalem, that was Jesus' grave that he went to after he was crucified, and to collect the Talmud of Germany.
Okay.
So the Talmud of Germany was written by Jesus. But now let's step one back. What the Talmud of Germany says. So just before I get to that. So as soon as the Talmud of Germany was found, Iranian guy started translating it into German, because Billy Meyer is German. And the Israelis killed him, and they destroyed the tomb of Jesus, because they believe he was in a different, Christians believe he was in a different tomb. Now, what the Talmud of Germany says is that Jesus didn't die on the cross. The Quran says that as well. when I do my hour or half an hour talk on Jesus in India, I read from the Quran. And he survived it, and the grave had a secret entrance. And they sort of cured him as far as possible, and he was removed from the secret entrance, and he went north to Damascus. So when on the third day the soldiers rolled with this big stone in front of his grave and saw Jesus was gone, they ran back to authorities and said, Jesus is gone. So authorities said, just say he went up to heaven. And that's where the whole myth started. Now, there was no interest in Jesus to tell the authorities that they got it wrong, because then he will be crucified again. So Thomas, his brother, saw him afterwards. He literally saw him. He didn't see a spirit form. Saul, or Paul, the guy that first persecuted Jesus, but then turned him. He saw him on the road to Damascus. He physically saw him, but he thought he saw a spirit. Then Jesus stayed in Damascus for 2 years, and then he went east again. And he already knew the route. But this time he traveled with his mother, Mary, his brother Thomas, and Judas Iscariot. Judas Iscariot wasn't the same as they say in the New Testament. They went east. Mary died in Muri, Murree, which is 80 kilometers from Srinagar, the capital of Kashmir. And the whole town is built around her, where Mary died. And then Jesus died at the age of 150, according to the Talmud of Germany, in Srinagar, outside Srinagar on a hill. And then he married, he had 3 kids, and his eldest son took, on Jesus' instruction, Jesus' real name was actually Germaniel, not Jesus, but then his eldest son took the scroll and hid it in the grave where he was put. So,
okay, that's a lot to it's a lot to take on. It's a lot to digest.
I did a talk. There's one guy that he does books, and it's like you speak for 15 minutes on a topic. So for dyslexia, I spoke 15 minutes, and he gets about 600-700 people view his podcasts. He's got a big following. And for the dyslexia, which is difficult to absorb because most people don't think the way I'm promoting dyslexia, I got 50 thumbs ups and only 1 or 2 thumbs down, which I was quite amazed with. Mineral and health, the semen plus 70% organic, it's the same. I got about 50 thumbs up. When it came to Jesus in India, I got not 1 thumbs up. So it just shows me that how controversial the topic is. But it's the most important topic for world peace. There is not a more.
But would you say that we require this topic for world peace? I mean, why? I don't understand the piece of the puzzle here, because my understanding is that with religion, there's an author, Sam Harris, and he writes a book about a guide to spirituality without religion, and his whole argument is that in essence we're all spiritual beings, and we don't require like a heavy maybe a heavy following of religion. I mean, although religion has morals and ethics, I believe in that, but I think at the core we're just all spiritual. We're all spirit, we're all energy to some degree. And I think we should just be treating each other with respect and love, And I think, if we pass that message along, then hopefully it'll spread around. So I don't know.
Well, yes, we're all just vibrating strings. So that's the biggest thing I found out, is that I asked the Creator, is the string in string theory the same? The string in string theory is the size of a tree, and then the solar system is the atom. So a string is the smallest part, and we're all just made up of vibrating strings. So they've proven the string theory. And then I asked the Creator, is the string in string theory the same as the God particle they found in CERN, the collider between France and Switzerland? And he said, yes, it is. So it shouldn't actually be called the God particle, because the gods is the Pleiadian gods. It should be called the creator particle. We're just vibrating strings. And I agree 100% you. We're just spiritual beings. Unfortunately, the 5 main religions, although I'm a Christian, I'm not a church-going Christian. I don't think there's any wrong going to church. Unfortunately, the 5 main religions have caused huge wars.
Yeah, absolutely.
And until the 5 main religions that make up 75% of humanity, there's still a lot of really heavy thinking religious people out there. And until the 5 main religions can relax, we're not going to have world peace. And why Jesus in India? Because of the truth will set us free. But also the Christians and the Jews, the big thing is there's a lot of scholars for power purposes change the Old and New Testament. And that is where the problem lies. And until when the Talmud of Germany, now Billy Meyer's people that I've been in contact with recently say to me that the Talmud of Germany was destroyed in a fire. I know it wasn't, because I can speak to the Creator. It wasn't destroyed. They will say that because they don't want people to hassle them. But the Talmud of Germany and the Life of Saint Isa by the Dalai Lama now needs to be released and carbon dated. And once Christians can see that the Bible was changed, then they'll relax, because the Bible says that if you're gay, now I'm not gay, but the Bible says if you're gay, you're bad. The Creator made a gay person gay. It's so unfortunately Old and New Testament have got a lot of false things, and people believe in that. So the Jesus in India, and I've got another topic coming later, that is, once the world starts understanding that the scriptures has got huge mistakes in them, then people will start relaxing. And especially when Christians start and Jews start understanding that, wow, Jesus was taught by Hindu and Buddhist scholars.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Karl, we've kind of hit the hour mark almost.
Yes.
So look, I think we didn't get a chance to unpack all the topics, but I'm happy to have you on the show in the future to discuss further. So I might cut it here. But it's been I'm happy to. It's been great listening to you and getting your advice on a few things. And how can people connect? Sorry?
Yes, I hope you'll have you back, because the other 5 to 12 is number 5 to 12. The other topics are also really important. But I do agree, like I normally just discuss very briefly each topic. I've gone into far more detail today.
No, look, I like the detail. Yeah, the detail's good. I like the detail.
It's a lot to absorb, but I've got podcasts on. But I would love to have you. I would love to chat again in the future if you can spare the time. And yeah, I could. It's lightsurfers.me, lightsurfers, lightsurfers.me, and then all the information is in there.
Not a problem. All right. Thanks for being on the show, and enjoy yourself, guys. Thank you.
Keep well.
Thank you. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that show with Karl. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. And just before we leave, I'm going to just show you my new project here. Let's go. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Are you sick and tired of adjusting settings and trying to organize your live stream? Leave it with a professional. My services include integrating Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or any software into OBS, installing a script for great overlays and images. I can set up your RTMP streaming key, coach you towards a great live stream experience, and provide specific advice on microphone filters in OBS or general advice on which camera to use and background adjustments. So why are you waiting around for? Send me a message and let's organize to connect using TeamViewer, and I can organize your live stream now.